And what's up, everybody? I'm back with another stadium review. Yes, visited a new stadium. It's been a while since I visited one that's not a racetrack. This is kind of cool. This is Kelly Shorts Stadium, or Kelly/Shorts Stadium. I don't know exactly how it's pronounced. I think it's just called Kelly Shorts Stadium. This is the home of Central Michigan football. Yay! Yes. Yeah, I went up and watched a Central Michigan football game recently. As you can tell by the sunburn that I got, a little bit of a sunburn. We went up there and tailgated and saw their win against Wagner, 49-10. So that was pretty fun. Got to see a lot of scoring, got to see a good win. So I got some thoughts though from the stadium itself. My second ever college football stadium behind Spartan Stadium and first in the MAC, obviously. So I was interested to see how it would be in comparison to a bigger stadium in the Big Ten. So got a lot of thoughts on it. Let's just jump right into it, shall we? First thing I want to say, it does kind of work with the terrain well. Central Michigan is not necessarily the hilliest campus in the world, but the area where the stadium is kind of hilly. So it was kind of nice how they were able to work it in. I mean, most of the stands are, you don't even see them from the outside except the big one on the home sideline. So like there's seating in the end zone and on the other sideline that you are like almost completely worked into the hill, and it's actually kind of cool. I like when stadiums do that. Which then, for what that was, allowed for a lot more open of a concourse, which I liked. The concourse on those sides of the stadium were completely on the top and open. And even the one on the home sideline, wasn't super constrained or anything like that. It was honestly pretty cool. It was a nice day, a little warm, so the breeze was nice that was flowing through. And it made for things not being too crowded. The game wasn't sold out by any means. There was definitely, I think it was maybe 60% full. Maybe a little more than that. Could have been honestly closer to 50%. I don't know the exact attendance numbers, but it was cool. Not as crowded and everything like that. Just made it an overall nicer experience, which is something you're never going to find at Spartan Stadium. It's always going to be crowded. It's a lot larger of a stadium. It's always going to be more full. And I think that's true for a lot of bigger schools. So it was kind of nice to see a differing perspective from a, not a lower division school, but, it's still not as big of a school. And then on the other end zone from where we were sitting, there's the locker rooms. The locker rooms are in the end zone. It has like a building that you just go in. It's not like a tunnel. And then there's like a viewing platforms and decks and stuff. And they have like kids stuff over there and like a shop worked in, which I thought was cool. That was a cool little building. Obviously, it decreases the seating capacity, but obviously, if you watch the short that I uploaded from the game, or watched or taking my account for it, it was not sold out by any means. So they gotta fill the seats for the ones that they have first before adding more, obviously. And I really don't think outside of the Western game, when Western comes to town or like a big team ever comes here for whatever reason, I don't think it will ever sell out. But on the note of like orientations and scoreboards and stuff like that, one of my very few complaints with this stadium is that there is only one video board in the stadium, and it is not adjacent to the other end zone seating. I thought that was annoying. It didn't like completely ruin the experience because you can like see the field well, and you from the end zone, and you can see the action and whatnot. But it was annoying because like if you wanted to see a replay of something or you wanted to get a good view of like the down that we were on or score, like they had all that information, but it was like as far as getting like a good replay or just like seeing some more, like seeing the videos that they were playing or some more up close action, some of the other like games and stuff, you couldn't see that, because unless you turned around, which was a little annoying. Even just like a little video board attached to the building on the other end zone would be nice. Or you move the video board, or you have one like behind the student section on the other side, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how they would work that. Now they did also have like TV monitors that I assume were supposed to play the game, on the concourse that was not open. It was the one on the home sideline. They also had like an actually mini scoreboard put up there too with like the clock and stuff, which I thought was cool. But the TVs were not working, which was unfortunate. It did seem like they were having some technical difficulties on the day we went. Many of their card readers were down, so they were cash only. Which, you don't see that anymore at stadiums either. The ability to take cash. Yes, they can take cash. And most of their concession stands, which, whatever works, I guess. I'm all for moving to a card-only type world. But, cash is necessary sometimes. We'll get back to concessions in a little bit. But as far as like game day atmosphere, obviously it wasn't very crowded, so the crowd is not necessarily fully into the game. Outside of the students, I thought when the students were there, a lot of students left by the end of the game, as most people did. A lot of people did leave before the end of the game. I mean, it was a 49-10 blowout. The only touchdown from Wagner came on a fumble recovery. So, no offensive production whatsoever. Central had them locked down the entire game, and so, I mean, it was not a close game at all. But they had a cool, like, funny, and gentlemen, stop, yeah, and the Kevin James NASCAR intro. They played that at the start of the game. I thought that was funny. A lot of the other stuff that they did as far as just, like, cool stuff, interactive between plays in the game, I didn't think it was that bad, honestly. It was pretty generic. Like, there was a Buffalo Wild Wings giveaway. There was a chicken run or something like that. Animal run for Buffalo Wild Wings. There was a Meyer themed one, generic stuff, what you would expect. Some of it you would expect to see more at like basketball games, so the fact that it's like at football kind of just shows how like more low-key things are. That was cool. Another thing that I wasn't, probably my only, the only other thing that I probably would say is a true complaint with the stadium has to be their touchdown fireworks. Now, MSU does touchdown fireworks now. I think they're a lot better than these. MSU's are a lot more graceful, and they have color to them. And whereas Central Michigan's fireworks, when they go off, it sounds like a fucking bomb just got detonated. And all you see is just a little bit of smoke. I mean, literally, these are the most invisible fireworks I've ever seen in my life. Now, it was a day game, so maybe they are more visible at night. But I could not see them, like, at all. At least at MSU, on the day game, when they score, you can still see the fireworks. They're not as good looking, obviously, but you can still see them. Not the case here. I don't know what they were thinking there. And they just are loud as fuck. Felt like I was back at the Vikings game when they shoot off the fireworks for their touchdowns. Also, the policies at this stadium are quite lax. They do have a clear bag policy, and they do have a no outside food or drink policy, but I saw many people attempt to and succeed getting outside food, not really outside drink, but not really outside food, but outside drink definitely into the stadium. It's not hard to do when the parking lot is right there. I mean, it was literally, we could see our car from the parking lot. And the security was a lot of, I think, college students or college graduates who were kind of lax on it because it was a not very crowded game. They also were very lax on their re-entry policy. They just let you come back in. Cool. I think that's cool, especially for a smaller football game like this. Yeah, if it's like an MSU game, I understand the no re-entry policy, or like a bigger game like SEC and whatnot. But for a game like this, I think it's fairly fine to have that policy. So, but if you didn't want to, sorry, it was a late night for Pringleson. If you don't want to bring in your own stuff, whatever the fuck, you can buy stuff. The concessions here were pretty generic, I will say. You have your nachos, you have your hot dogs, you have your beer, you got your pop, you got your other chips, all that sort of stuff. They did have a couple sort of specialty items, mostly like grilled stuff and like burgers, like chicken. At this one stand, it looked okay, but it was a little pricey. Most of the other stuff though, and they had like a slushy stand as well, and but that was like an outside vendor. I thought most part, it was all just pretty generic. The prices weren't bad though, and from what people in my group tried, they said it was pretty good. So I didn't try any of the concessions myself. I just had a bottle of water at the game because we had some food at the tailgate, but it looked good, and apparently it did taste pretty good too. So can't really expect too much specialty stuff because the price of admission is so cheap for these games. And we paid $15 a ticket. Now we were getting the group rate. The regular public rate is $19 a ticket when you get 4 or more. And then the regular rate for like a single ticket is $22. And that's general admission seating, by the way. There are some reserved sections in the stadium. Think like a MSU volleyball or women's basketball game, but transferred over to a football game. It's kind of that similar structure. And general admission seating at a football game that's not a student section, that was a first for me. So that was kind of cool. You can kind of just like move around wherever you wanted to, and obviously the stadium wasn't very crowded, so it was kind of nice. You could just go around wherever you wanted to go. And again, $22 for a ticket. We paid $15 for a ticket, and they were $12.50 in advance. $12.50 a ticket. That is dirt cheap for a football game. I love that because students get in free, so you're not getting any student revenue, and they still kept it that lower price. That's quite the throwback to the old days of football in the bigger conferences, at least. So that was interesting. I also wanted to. And other in-game entertainment. I want to talk about the band real quick. They played Minecraft movie music at halftime. They were fine otherwise. And then like the one end zone that we were sitting in, there's no net on the field goal post, so we were just trying to catch the football. And that became like a fun game. It's like a baseball game, but with football. Didn't catch a football, unfortunately. The one kick that I was in a good position for, the kicker line drived it right into the stairs, and so great. Thank you, Wagner's kicker. But my last comment on the stadium I want to say is just the stadium was a lot cleaner than I would anticipate, at least. It was very well kept. It's not like super revolutionary or super modern. It's a pretty basic stadium for the most part. I mean, they have like a transparent themed cover over the scoreboard. When you're up close, you can see right through it, which is kind of funny. But like, And like most of the facilities at the stadium, like as long as I've been going up to Central for events, which has been since like third grade, and now I'm out of college, I mean the stadium has looked the same. I don't think there's been any major renovations or additions or anything like that put on the stadium in that time. But even still, it's very well kept. I mean, at least the MSU games are dirty, right? It's crowded, got a lot of drunk people, you've got a lot of stuff being thrown around, thrown up, dropped, whatever, spilled. And yeah, there was some of that at this game, but not nearly as much. And the lower crowds definitely play a part in that. But also, I think overall, I think people just take better care of the stadium here. I think the people that they hire, they might get. I think they probably get better pay because they do a better job than the MSU janitors. And they, less crowds definitely helps though too, and more simple food I think helps as well. MSU has a lot of specialty items, and I think people overpay for them just to end up throwing it up later because they're drunk as shit. And yeah, there were some drunk people at this game, but not nearly as much, because it was a 1 o'clock start, so I guess that'd be why. But I have to give him credit though, keeping it well kept. I like that. So, anyways, that's my thoughts on Kelly Short Stadium. Gotta say, this was a pretty easy 7 out of 10 for me, as far as the stadium goes. Maybe even an 8. I'll give it an 8. It was an 8. I had a very pleasant experience here. I think if it was colder or raining or something like that, I think it would have been a lot lesser of experience for me, just because there is not a lot of covering for stuff like that. Again, there's only the one covered concourse area. And even for like a colder or even more crowded game, I think I would have a little bit different of experience, but also I don't think I would. I think I'd still think to this stadium pretty highly, even if I was here for like a sold out game. So that's that. But anyways, that's my thoughts. If you've been to this stadium, I'd love to know your thoughts about it in the comments section down below. And that's going to do it for this video as well. So stay tuned for other much more amazing content, including more stadium reviews and other awesome stuff. This will not be the last new football stadium that I visit in 2025. Hint, hint. And I will be seeing Central again too, so be ready for that. So until next time, see you guys later. Goodbye.